Rolling right along. Welcome to Module 2 of Simplified SEO. We are moving into the next ranking factors that Google cares about, and thus so do we. So let's talk about both on and off page factors and a whole lot of linking in numbers 4 and 5. So what are on and off page ranking factors? Well, it's essentially the way we show up on search in both the things that are on page on our website and on the back, and then the things that are off page that are elsewhere on the internet, including our social feeds, but also links about us throughout the internet and other things. So the basis of SEO, of course, is to show up in search, and we want to think about the keywords and the on and off page ranking factors that make a difference here. Just hitting that home. Some of these on-page elements, content, so yes, the quality of our content on our website, including blog posts and how rich and well-read they are, the research that we do in order to show up with the right keywords and to weave them into our web pages and our titles and page descriptions really effectively, and then just those individual words that supplement the kind of keywords, so the ongoing kind of copy and text throughout your page. And then there's the HTML. So this is a bit more of the back end stuff. When we think about the front end content, I like to think about the things that our users and viewers of our website can see. And then there's the sort of things that we can do on the back of each of those pages that include titles, tags, meta descriptions, and other kind of SEO factors that hopefully our website helps us achieve. What about system? This is really important. We've talked a little bit already about load time, dwell speed, or dwell time, how long someone sticks around. The index that you've created and maybe served up to Google to say, here's my sitemap. Here you go. You don't have to crawl it yourself now. We can do that through Google Search Console, or we can just wait for Google to naturally crawl our site as it does with all websites. And then, of course, the URL. So like our entire sitemap that includes the domain extensions and sort of slugs, if you will, of each page, how clear they are, how well connected they are. All of these things matter, and we're going to consider those systemic or systematic elements of our on-page SEO strategy. Then there's the CSS. This is the custom style sheet. So it's basically the design file for your website, whether that's a template or a theme on WordPress, Wix, Shopify, Squarespace, or it's something that was custom built, so custom HTML coded. And those site sheet or the style sheets have to be clean. And Google cares about that because it's reading those when it loads up that font and that image and that element or, slider gallery, etc. So same kind of thing. You want to be able to ensure that your CSS is clean and that it's not filled with a bunch of other junky code. But for the most part, we don't really have to worry about that unless it was custom built. And then what are some of the shadier tactics on the on-page elements? Stuffing, cloaking, paid links. So keyword stuffing, where I've hired someone to write me a bunch of blog posts on dentistry that are going to help my dental practice website rank. And that person went and created 500 plagiarized articles that have jammed in every kind of word about dental and hygiene and mouth health that they could possibly think of, publish those to my URL. Not connected to my main navigation. So they're published, but they're kind of dark living over here, unconnected. And that's a problem because they're not all part of the same sitemap, but also that they're not real human language. I'm going to be penalized by Google for having plagiarized content because if it can find the exact same kind of content elsewhere on the internet, that's a flag. It's going to be penalized because it's not written in the language of a human. And if anyone ever stumbles on it, they can report it or simply not read it. There's a number of things there that are not awesome. But most of us aren't in that game anyway. Cloaking. So you're basically clickbaiting someone into reading an article, a blog post, or heading to a web page that isn't what you promised them at all. And that becomes obvious again in bounce rate, dwell time, and other things. So there's certain ways that, of course, we can get people to our site, but if it's not the right way or the authentic way, we're going to pay the price. And then paid links that maybe just are, again, that same kind of strategy that is not ideal. If you're being offered to for money or for an exchange of links, hey, we've got a great article on golf. I think it would be perfect for your restaurant blog. No, thank you, but I see what you're doing there. You're trying to build your links on my website because that's a linking strategy, which we're going to talk about. However, it's not an authentic or natural type of link for my website, and I'm going to be penalized by that. Off-page elements. So what kind of things are considered off-page SEO? pieces, well, again, linking. So any kind of inbound links that send people our way from a article in the globeandmail.com that mentions your URL and your company name and sends people to your website. Amazing. That is a massive, plus in your popularity contest and in Google's eyes. As well as other types of keywords that we're linking to and offsite links ourselves to those same types of articles or same types of suppliers, customers, reviews, media sites, etc. We want to have a really solid linking strategy. The trust. So this is just something that builds over time. And if we're doing our job and we're having a great amount of traffic and, ticking the boxes on other SEO elements in Google's eyes, we're going to build trust with our viewers, but also with the search engine. How personal is it? So a lot of us like to have a site that's pretty nebulous. We don't really want to say we're based in Winnipeg, but, because we're selling to a global audience, but that can hurt us in terms of local search and just being found. Google needs to know that you are who you say you are. And this is a sort of a Google My Business segue, but what helps with a Google My Business page, and remember that's our number one local SEO tool, is that we can set up our address and our locations, and then we can verify our address through Google's verification process to say, yes, I am who I say I am. I'm located where I say I am. Put me on the map, literally, with a pin. And from there, that also helps just build that kind of personal or localization aspect of our search. Because remember, if I'm searching for dentists while I'm traveling to Moscow, I'm going to be served with local results. That is what Google knows that you would want mostly. It's not going to serve me up a bunch of results from Saskatchewan, where I live. It's very localized to your geo-tracking and where you happen to be pinging cell phone towers at that time. So if you're not giving Google any information about where you're located, you're really hindering your SEO in some ways. I would encourage you to try and make yourself somewhat available or local. And then blocking. So off-page elements that can hurt you are when you're blocked by users, if they think your site is phony or shady, or you're stuffing or clickbaiting, just essentially being blacklisted in any which way, and that can happen by the search engine. We've seen it with big brands that have tried to game their way up the rankings through some of the things we've talked about, and they've been written out of Google. They're literally not searchable, and Google has the ability to wipe someone off the map. So that won't happen to most of us, and most of us aren't employing some of these bigger, kind of broader SEO strategies that big companies have experimented with. But it's just good to be aware of the fact that those things can, in fact, come back to bite you. And on the whole, again, everything we're doing now in our SEO is about natural content creation, keyword usage, linking strategies, and just overall site function. So if you're doing all those things well, you're on the right track. Okay, let's talk about linking. So this is just such an underutilized piece of a lot of people's SEO strategy. I've mentioned it a little bit already, but let's go into it. So link building 101 is where we're getting our customers and our partners or anyone that's in our realm, associates, whoever we can, to link to our website from their site or from their posts or from their reviews. This is like gold. If you are donating a product to an auction or a charity, if you are, purchasing your tomatoes from that farmer, or if you are hiring a bunch of contractors from individual agencies or freelancers or whatever it is, where can you ask them in a genuine, authentic way, not begging for a 5-star review? You're simply saying, hey, could you mention or use my logo and link back to my website, and I'll do the same for you. This is natural cross-linking, and it's really powerful. If you don't have any on inbound and outbound links on your site, you're just, again, kind of existing in an island. And if you have several, and they're authentic, then Google knows that you are, again, that much more established, that much more authentic and real. You're not some kind of fake cloaking site, etc. So we want to create content that provides natural linking interest and opportunity. There is nothing better than seeing that a bunch of your new organic traffic is coming from that killer blog post you wrote about dirty vegetables, I don't know, and that a bunch of dietitians and health articles and doctors have picked it up, and then media articles, and holy smokes, I've just created this really rich piece of content that went far, and that's far better for so many reasons than creating, quantity over quality and blogging like crazy that never gets seen. A final note on this. If you are able to be linked to, I mentioned the Globe and Mail a minute ago, but a high ranking, high domain authority site in Google's eyes, many of which the best example is a media site that's been around a long time, that's trusted, that is well trafficked, and, just has a lot of SEO ranking. If you can get them to mention you, it's gold. And this is, if nothing else, the number one reason to have a PR strategy in modern day marketing times. Because if you can get media coverage that lives on that media site's website, and they're, again, linking back to you, and it's going to change your rankings immensely. I've seen it happen. I've seen companies where we've focused heavily on the SEO factors that, are related to all the things we're talking about, keywords, blog posts, content, while missing that linking piece, particularly media links if we can get them. And then another site that has zero SEO strategy, but got one great media article written about it, and they appear number one. It's unbelievable how powerful this is. I feel like media outlets should be charging for this SEO factor that they just naturally offer the stories that they write and the businesses that they cover. So I really encourage you to think about that. It's the thing that my real deep SEO pals say all the time. Get your students building their linking strategy in an authentic way, not a cheesy, hey, you should post my blog on your golf website because it's good. Do it in a way that is actually powerful, and keep at it. Another way, again, offsite linking. So we're partnering with bloggers, influencers, and content creators. This is obviously something we've all been exposed to when we follow our favorite bloggers or influencers, and they're mentioning Home Depot's new window coverings or, so-and-so new restaurant. That's great. And they're probably being paid for that. And they're probably noting that it's promotional content or paid partnerships, which is fine. But there's a reason companies pay for that. If you can do it organically or reciprocally, awesome, in some of the ways I just mentioned with partners, suppliers, customer reviews, etc. But even cooler if you can integrate it with some kind of influencer strategy or, again, just media strategy. Let's consider it. So there we are, media coverage. We want to aim for coverage and mentions with high ranking, reputable sources and domains. And this is that domain authority in Google's eyes that is so important. And for a lot of media outlets, it's just they've been around a long time, and that is a ranking factor in itself. It's built traffic and trust over the years, and you can bet that they've got great ranking. And then content marketing, another piece of this really important kind of linking strategy. We're publishing relevant, timely, and interesting content to our social feeds. We're writing LinkedIn articles. We're posting on, of course, Facebook and Instagram and maybe Twitter. Maybe we're doing longer Twitter streams now. And we're finding other places. Perhaps it's blogging on Medium, or it's TikToks where you swipe up and get to your website. But this is all inbound traffic. These are offsite links leading people to your website. I always say that the blogging piece of a business is so important because if nothing else, it gives you stuff to post on social that drives people to your website from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as opposed to a news article or a competitor's site or somewhere else. And when we start boosting that content, which is so important as part of our paid social strategy for $5 here, $10 there behind each post, so it actually gets seen and served up to non-fans and followers, as well as our growing follower base, we're never going to have an interest in putting money behind an article or a blog post that leads to something else, like that Newsweek article. Forget it. You're going to want to have repurposed that article and other things on the internet into your own original thoughts on your blog, or just to write your thoughts as part of your blogging strategy. And then again, just post those shortcuts and links throughout your social pages that all leads back to your website, which should be the end goal. We are not aiming to build a bunch of content to keep people on our Instagram page. We want to drive them to our website, and then they'll get lost in our great content there on our super clean, clear, mobile-friendly website, which is where they convert and they come back for more and they subscribe to our e-newsletter. So hopefully all roads lead to your homepage, and that alone will drive your website up as well. External ranking. finally, the most important factor here. So let's just hit this home again. These can be both inbound and outbound links, but it is essentially just building authentic links throughout your site. Be careful because you don't want to have 500 or 5,000 of them. You're not going to just create a dark blog post that's, remember, published but not linkable from your main blog, that's got like 500 links on it to random things. That's going to be a little bit shady. That is not authentic. But as you're writing your blog posts, as you're creating your content, you want to be employing some of this. These links that go beyond just links to different pages on your site. They link to other content on the internet, and then hopefully the same happens for you. So regularly updated content is viewed as one of the best indicators of a site's relevancy, both in your users and in Google's eyes. So be sure to keep it fresh. You don't want a tired, stale site. Worst of all, with broken links or old pages or slow loading imagery that people bounce from and they can't bother to stick around. Even more painful when you start running ads to drive people to that website, either as a boosted post or an ad campaign. And then that site doesn't load. You're paying for that cost per click or cost per impression, but that person didn't bother to stick around and wait the 14 seconds it took your site to load, or the 8.5. So thinking about fresh content, relevant content, and then, of course, all the other factors that our websites need to have. Building link equity. So certain links give value and authority that the search engine, values and rewards you for. And it's also about topic relevance. So if there is a trending topic in Google's heat maps and it's about COVID-19 vaccination, whatever, or summer travel hotspots or Christmas gift guides, whatever it is, some new gadget, some health trend. What is it that you can jump on? This is called news hijacking. And if you can create relevant and timely content that is, playing on that or feeding into that, that is incredible. That is another kind of content strategy that can make us very highly clickable, and that overall it'll raise all the boats, all the tides at once of our social pages and website SEO. So we want to enhance our links wherever we can, and in turn enhance our domain authority. This is basically just saying that we've got that same kind of goal as those high domain authority sites do, that would be news sites or social sites or other, well-established, reputable organizations. We want to function the same way. And they are creating relevant, truthful, clear, concise, clean content that's got lots of links and lots of sources and all sorts of data behind it, and leaves people wanting more and dwelling for a long time. And this is exactly the same kind of thing that we're aiming for. Doesn't mean that our site has to be extremely robust and crazy big. It needs to be the things I mentioned: clean, concise, compelling, and authority building. So if you're going to link somewhere, ask yourself, is the link relevant? Is the linking site authoritative? Is the link followed? Is the link crawlable? You have the ability to turn this on or off on each individual page on your website. You can say, make this a Google no follow page. And what that means is that the search engine can't crawl that page. You might want to do that for a thank you page. After somebody checks out and you redirect them to a thank you page, that may not be something that you want to show up in your SEO or in your kind of search results. Or perhaps it's your subscribe page or something more internal, a login page or something like that. So you can make them non-followable, non-crawlable links. Where is the link located on the page? How far down do I have to go to see it? And then how many links are on this page? So we don't want 300, but is 5 or 10 okay? And this is something you may want to look further into. And also, again, see what other sites are doing. I always say, what would Nike do? What would Google do? What would the New York Times do? And starting to take some cues there. All right, it's your turn. We're rounding the corner here on Module 2. I want you to do a bit of an audit. So we already kind of audited ourselves, but I want you to think a little bit more now about your competitors and the industry as a whole. So thinking about a web search that is using relevant search terms for your industry and who is showing up. Beyond that, what kind of descriptions are they using in their little SERP snippets? What pages of theirs are showing up if they do have an expanded search snippet? And what are they hopefully manufacturing to show up in there? Or does it look like a hodgepodge that they're not in control of? And beyond that, how do you rank with them? So where are you showing up? Is there paid search results or just organic for the people in your industry? Try other cities, see what's out there, and just start to take note of the language, the words, and page titles that people are implementing in search so that we can improve our own. And then, of course, a little bit more on your own business. What are the first 3 pages that show up when you do a search for your company by name, if any? And what are the main platforms and pages that you want users to see when they search for your business? Do you want to pull a page out of Lululemon's book and have lululemon.com show up first organically, followed by their Instagram page, their LinkedIn page, their Facebook page, and their YouTube page? Amazing. They're owning page 1, as they should. They're established, they're high authority, they're trusted. But how can we start to do the same thing, to take over that entire page, to own our own name as well as our industry names, and to do it organically is like, amen, Shangri-La of search results. You're showing up in desktop, mobile, and voice search. If you're there and you're just going to keep on building on it, not sit back and wait for someone to take over those spots from you and start to steal your strategies, you're going to build on it. You're going to have incredible domain authority and trust, and your site will be really, really well trafficked, which while that's not our A1 goal, if our site is built properly, it's going to then convert like crazy and you'll be reaching your revenue goals before you know it. All right, I will see you next in Module 3. We're halfway done, and we're going to look a little bit deeper at keywords, tags, and descriptions, and that HTML language of the internet and our websites and how that matters in SEO. I'll see you there.